Hey, happy Wednesday. Hope things are rolling around well in your life. I've said many times, I don't know how often you watch this video or if you know me at all, I'm always saying everyone should write a book. You should write a book. If you've never written a book, you should write a book. Why do I say that? Because I learned so much from writing out the events of my own life. It was amazing, the things that I learned. I learned how I felt about stuff, what I thought, what moved me, how I reacted and responded to things. Look, if you don't know that about yourself, if you're ignorant of those things, you're never going to be able to change them. You're never going to be able to combat the things that are negative in your life. You've got to learn that about yourself. Influence of the world is dangerous, and the world has so much influence over us. And now I'm beginning to say everyone should go to jail. No, I don't think you should break the law or do the things that cause you to end up in jail. But time in jail or prison or a program will change your life. Listen, Ralph Waldo Emerson says, to be yourself in a world that's constantly trying to make you into something else is the greatest accomplishment. And that is so true. It's so true that the world is always trying to make us into something else. We got movies and television and social media. We got friends and neighbors and children. Even the bathroom mirror is always telling us we need to do something different or something needs to change or we're not good enough or we're not living up. It's hard. It's hard to do the work of not giving into those things, of standing up. And it is a huge accomplishment to be who you're called to be instead of what everyone is telling you you should be. And listen, there's no better way to recognize these things in jails than in jails and prisons. It's hard to be in a program. It's hard to be in jail. It's uncomfortable. But it's harder for people who have never gone through this. Life appears to be in order for some people. Life seems easy and as if they don't have problems. They've never been to jail. They don't have to go to a program. They don't attend meetings. They don't go to church. They don't have a close circle of friends. And they're living in denial and separation from where they're supposed to be. It's the truth. It's the truth. There's a void in people's lives who don't have interaction with other people. And jail and prison separates you. It sets you apart. It's a beautiful opportunity to study and to learn, to be alone, to be quiet, to listen to others. We do not listen to people. They talk and we hear to answer instead of hearing to hear. Instead of hearing to let them feel heard. We don't listen to ourselves. We don't pay attention to what we're thinking and how we're feeling. And we certainly don't listen to God. And that's why time being set apart where you don't have a choice but to listen. You still have a choice. Let me tell you the truth. You still have a choice. You can get involved in a bunch of stuff there that you're not supposed to be involved in. But it's a lot easier to get quiet and get still when the outside world is removed. And not only that, to take advice from other people or to commit myself to change, to recognize and realize where there are faults in my life. That requires being still and being quiet. It requires me saying, Lord, I see this about myself. Now what do I do? And waiting for his response. Also, prison and programs and meetings, they give you a sense of humility. We are so prideful. We got it all figured out. We don't need help. And that's a dangerous, dangerous place to be. Or to be obedient. You got to be obedient in prison. If you don't follow the rules, you're going to get in trouble. And if you have any sense at all, you just say, hey, I'm going to listen to what these people say because they have control over me right now. Now, I'm again not suggesting that you have to go to a prison or a program to be different. But the uncomfortable stuff is what makes these places force you to do that. But you can let God bring that to life in you. That's not for nothing. Being quiet and being still, being uncomfortable is not for nothing. It gets our attention. It makes us aware of what God is saying. The time is coming where we're going to need that as a nation and as a people. If you don't recognize that, you're just oblivious to what's going on, because things are crazy and dangerous right now. I mean, the world is in this government system, and this nation is is a very precarious place. It's weird. It's not good. And so the question is, are you going to be ready? We've got to be asking ourselves, am I submitting to God? Am I listening to God? Am I going to be ready for what's coming next? Because if you're not, you're going to get caught up in stuff that you don't want to be caught up in. It's a fact. That's always happens. If we're not listening to God, the enemy sings other things to distract us. And as we're distracted, he gets a little foot in the door. And once he gets a foot in the door, it takes a little more space and a little more space. It's important that we're aware of what's coming. We're aware of what we're feeling and what's happening. We cannot sit around oblivious to the truth. God is completely able to walk you through every one of these processes without jail or a program or another person even. He can do this in your alone time with him. Are you spending time with him? People go, how much time do you spend in quiet time each day? I spend all day with Jesus. I told you last week I got my hair cut because he said, hey, the hair's got to go. But if I wasn't listening, I wouldn't hear that. So spend time this week answering the question, am I willing to make myself incarcerated by the presence of God? If you'll spend time this week answering that question, it'll make a radical difference in your life. I promise you that. See you guys next week. It's important that we have a reason to wake up every day. It's amazing. I've experienced it, and so can you. Take your feelings to him. He's good. You can do it. It'll make a difference.